Good morning, third graders. Today we are moving on to something other than the distributed property, but we're still going to be working on area. So we are on page 91 in your student journal today, page 91. And our goal or our objective today is I made a mistake, sorry. Today I will find the area of complex. Complex means complicated or more difficult or more challenging figures. So up until today, we've been finding only the area of rectangles. Today we're going to be finding the area of more complicated or complex or difficult figures. Okay, what we need to remember is we're still going to always use our formula. Our formula is area equals length times width. We do have some steps today that we're going to kind of look at. We're going to be doing two different types of problems, so they gave us two different types of steps. So one of the steps says if you're finding the area of complex figures by decomposing. I just want to remind you that decomposing means to break apart. So when you decompose, you break apart something. And they tell us here that we're going to decompose the complex figures into rectangles. So we're going to break it apart into rectangles. Then we're going to find the area of each rectangle and find the sum of the rectangles. Sum is a word that means we're going to add. So some of our problems we're going to use these steps, and then some of our problems we're going to be finding the area of our complex figures by subtracting. Okay, and I think we know that just subtracting, here's our subtraction sign. Okay, so we're not going to worry about those steps just yet. Okay. So I'm going to grab my marker and let's look at my first one. Remember, you're just watching this. This one says find the area of this complex figure by decomposing. Decomposing means break apart. Okay, I like to always have my formula just so I can refer to it. Okay, so they want me to break apart this complex figure into rectangles. So I'm going to break it apart this way. I'm just going to break it right there. So I have one rectangle and then another rectangle. So I could even color them to make it really clear. I have my yellow rectangle and then I have kind of my orange rectangle. So all I did was broke it into my two parts, and then I need to find the area of each one. I might even want to label them, even maybe A and B. So what is the area of my first one? Well, area is length times width. So my length is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And my width is 1, 2, 3. So area is length times width. And 6 times 3 is 18. That's my first one. Okay, what's in the area of B? Let's see. B is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I made multiple mistakes today. I apologize. 5 times 4, I already had put the answer is 20. So my area of A is 18, my area of B is 20, so the area of A and B of this complex shape would be both of them added together. So let's add A plus B, which is 18 plus 20. I could do that some side work if I'd like. And I get 8 plus 0 is 8, 1 plus 2 is 3. So my answer would be 38. My measurement is units, and area is always squared. Okay, let's look at another one. This one says I'm going to find the area of this complex figure by subtracting. Okay, so what they want me to do on this one is here's my shape, but they want me to turn my shape into one large rectangle. So notice how I'm going to color more than my shape. I'm going to extend my shape to make a rectangle. So my whole shape now is one rectangle. So I'm going to find the area of this entire shape. So let's see. Remember, area is length times width. So my length is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And my width is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have 8 times 6. Now if I don't know that, I have to do an array. I know 8 times 6 is 48 though. Okay, but here's my problem. 48 is the entire shape. I don't have this part. What is this part? This little part, I need to take this part away because I don't really have that part. So what's the area of that part? Well, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and its width is 1, 2. So that's 10. So this is the whole shape, but I need to subtract this part. So I have 48, and we could do some side work, minus 10. 8 minus 0 is 8, 4 minus. So the part that I really have is only 38 units squared. Okay, so we're actually going to be doing these, but much trickier and more challenging. I hope you're up for the challenge. Okay, so I'm going to do 2 more with you. I know normally I only do 2, but we're going to do 2 more of these together that are going to look now with numbers and not with our shapes. Okay, so this says I'm going to find the area by decomposing. Remember, decomposing means I'm going to cut up. So I'm going to cut that up. Okay, so I need to cut this complex or complicated figure into 2 rectangles. So I could just do it here. I could have also done it there. There's not a right way. Okay, I need to find the area of each of my rectangles. So, and I could maybe label them. Maybe this will be A and B. Okay, and remember my formula is length times width is what area equals. So let's look at this one. My length is clearly 7. But what's my width? It's a little tricky. They told me this 3 goes there, and they told me this 3 goes there, but don't I need to know this number? They don't tell me what it is. And I need to know this number. They don't tell me what that is either. They did tell me this whole thing is 9. I don't need that whole thing. I need just this part. Well, if this is 3, isn't that 3? And if this is 3, what does this have to be if this whole thing is 9? That has to be 6, because 3 and 6 will give me 9 together. So now I know my width is 6. So area of my first one is length times width, 7 times 6, which is 42. Now let's look at B. B is, we could do our formula again if we'd like. What is the length here? I need to know this number. I don't really know this number. I don't have it here or here. I do know this is 7. This whole thing is 7. So if this is 3, what does this have to be to make it 7? Hopefully you saw it must be 4. So of B, I know my length is 4. My width is 3, so 4 times 3 is 12. So if A is 42, B is 12, this whole shape, I would have to add them. So what is 42 plus 12? I'm getting 54 units squared. squared. Okay, let's look at another one. This time they want us to find the area by subtracting. Okay, so this time they want me to make this into one whole shape. So this is my whole shape. I'm going to find the whole part. So area equals length times width. So my length looks like 6. My width looks like 5. So I'm getting 30, but that's of the whole shape. I need to take this part away because I don't really have that part. Well, they told me this is 4, but they didn't really tell me what this is. If this is 2 and this whole thing is 5, wouldn't that have to be, wouldn't this have to be, if this whole thing is 5 and this one is 2, wouldn't this little part have to be 3? Because 2 plus 3 is going to give me 5. So I know my shape here must be 4 times 3, which is 12. So this large shape is 30, but I really don't have this shape, which was 12. So I would say I have 30 minus 12, or take away 12. I'm going to need to borrow, and I'm getting 18. So the part that I really have is only 18, and this measurement is centimeters squared, because area is squared. I did notice, ladies and gentlemen, up here I had put units, but my measurement was actually inches. We'll have to make sure that we're really careful, especially Miss Munoz, with that. It was inches. Okay, so now we're going to try some together. Please open your books to page 98. Okay, and we're going to try these together. So 98, I do have my 2 colored pencils. If you have 2 crayons or colored pencils, you might want to grab those. If not, just do your best to follow along. Okay, my first one says we're going to find the area by decomposing. Remember, decomposing means we're going to cut up. So we're going to cut up this shape into 2 rectangles. I think right there is a good spot to cut it up. So we have a really large rectangle and a little tiny small one right here. Okay, and remember, area is length times width. I might find A first and B second. Okay, so I know that this whole thing is 10, but I need just that little part there. Well, if this is 3, what does this part have to be to equal 10? Hopefully you see it must be 7, because 7 and 3 is going to give me the whole thing of 10. So this shape is, for A, 7 times 5, which is 35. That's my area of A. Now let's do our area of B. B, our area formula is length times width. And they told me the length is 3, and our width is 2. So our area is 3 times 2, which is 6. So if A is 35 and B is 6, the whole complex or complicated figure would be 35 plus 6, which is 41. So my answer is 41. My measurement is M, which means meters, and area is always squared. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's do one more. All right, find the area by subtracting. Explain your thinking. Okay, so for subtracting, remember they want me to turn this into a rectangle, and I'm going to find the area of that entire rectangle first. Okay, so area equals length times width. Of this whole shape, it looks like my length is 10 and my width is 9. So 10 times 9 is 90. But that's the entire shape. I don't have this part. So we're going to need to find out what that part is. They did tell me that this equals 6. They didn't tell me what this is. I'm missing this measurement. Well, if this is 9 and this part's 4, wouldn't that part have to be 5? Because 5 and 4 give me 9. So let's find, we have area is length times width. My length is 6 and my width is 5. So 6 times 5 is 30. So the whole shape was 90, but I really don't have 30. So I need to subtract that. And I'm getting 60 as my answer. Okay, so my answer is 60, my measurement is centimeters, and area is always squared. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, in your books today, I want you to work on page 99, which is 2 more problems, and then turn the page. And I want you to also try 100, which is 6 more problems. Pay close attention if they want you to decompose, which means to break it into squares, or subtract. I will see you tomorrow. Have a good afternoon. Bye.